We are now.
Just make it easier.
Meeting will come to order. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied. Would you please take a second, turn off all electronic equipment, and we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Becker?
Here.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg?
I am here.
Before we begin today's meeting, we've learned today that we lost a friend and a former commissioner, Tom Markowski, passed away last night. Would you please join me in a moment of silence in his memory? Thank you. Tom was a good man. We'll miss him. Okay. Next up is Franz Adler here. Come on up, Franz. Come on, guys. You want to come up here? Come on. Come on, Marty.
Yeah, I was gonna take
You guys look different over there. Yeah. You found a comb. No, I just didn't want to scare you, man. 10 line. Thank you, sir.
Never mind. Roger beat me too.
My pleasure to work with Public Works and it's been a pleasure. Just outside before we came into the city, Fox told me that we have a holiday. He's among the select few. That was the first one we used to do that. But Ron's working with you, it's been a pleasure. Your dedication to the city, to the environment, to everything is to be very proud of. I'm very proud to have you as an employee. And one side of me is sad to lose you, the other side, I'm glad that you're moving on and enjoy the rest of your life. Thank you, sir. Marty?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to say that for those of you that don't know, and most everybody here does, Franz put Margate on the map as far as recycling goes. And for that, we are honored. We are recognized. He is recognized. The city is recognized for all the great things that he has done over the years and the programs that he implemented. Just really put us well above and beyond all the other communities. Franz is unique in employees that we have, in that he, more than anybody that I think I know, cares. Franz cares about Margate, cares about the job. He gave up his own personal time on many occasions over the years to make Margate a better, cleaner place. The thing that rings true with me is that Franz gets it and got it really very early on. He understood that if he got our kids involved, that he could train them and instill upon them how important the environment was. And my first connection with Franz was with the beach cleanups that he helped organize and run. And my kids today still talk about the beach cleanups and what a good time and what a great thing that they did for the environment when they went to the beach cleanups. And we're still doing them today. So I want to say that personally, I'm going to miss Franz. I know that Franz has instilled his work ethic in Anthony and the other employees that work with him on the recycling team. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart.
Hard to follow that.
I would love to add a few things, and as Margate stated so eloquently, Franz educated himself at the right time and brought us into a transition. And the most important thing he did, he had a mannerism where he educated our residents as to the do's and don'ts. And I know many times I saw that red sticker on a trash can or on a black bag, yet Franz took it the extra level and would go knock on the door and tell the resident, because some residents would get offended if they were red flagged. He would tell them, and after that, you'd never have to go back and visit. They knew what they were supposed to do. As a result, Margate, many accolades and many awards, all through the efforts of Franz, educating himself first and then educating our residents. I have a history with Franz for over 45 years. Back in the early 70s, we worked together in the construction industry. And we had a friendship then, and our friendship stayed all through the years. I just want to congratulate him for being a great employee in the city of Margate, keeping Margate a great place to live in, and being a part of our community. We're going to miss you, Franz. But as we said the other day in the conversation we had, you're going to be able to enjoy your time now, and it's a good time for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, real quick, yeah.
What a surprise, Franz
Yeah.
has to say.
But I promised the mayor a long time, I keep it short. I promised my wife more than him, and I keep it real. Just a couple things, because I feel so much for the room, the people in it, the honor that's in it. I love Margate. I've lived and worked here for over 5 decades, part of my life. The blessings in my life are too numerous to mention. The people, the leadership in this town, second to none. I could never repay the opportunity to grow as a person that this town gave me. 1974, a little levity. 1974, George Nami gave me a start right down the street. 1989, Bill Ross, who walks on water as far as I'm concerned, gave me a job. For 29 years, the Margate people and the Margate Commission gave me a career. In retrospect, I leave you with a program built on hard work, political leadership, and most importantly, a citizen body of wise, forward-thinking, and committed residents. Our Constitution starts out with "We the people." The embodiment of my city career was just that. I always let the people know in this town I worked for you. If requests were made within the scope of our ordinances, they got done. This is what you all want to hear in closing. Let me say, the proudest moment, and this is hard for me, Mike, the proudest moment of my journey here was to rise from degradation and substance abuse in 1993 and sit at that table and represent the Public Works Department. That was it. I leave you with this. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
This is all about.
We've decided to do a proclamation for Franz, and after that, it's kind of like secondary to read this, but I have to do it, it's part of my duty. Whereas Franz Adler is being honored on the occasion of his retirement after 27 years of dedicated service to the city of Margate, and whereas Franz has worked diligently and brilliantly as Public Works Assistant Superintendent during these decades to assure Margate City has been a part of the state of New Jersey's clean community, and whereas Franz is acknowledged and commitment to the city of Margate has been one of passion and professionalism. And whereas the city of Margate City offers praise for awards, Franz is one from the state of New Jersey, Outstanding Achievement Award, Recycling Coordinator of the year 2006 for Atlantic County, 2010 Enforcement Award from New Jersey Clean Community, one of 50 people in the United States of America to be awarded the Unsung Hero Award, and the State of New Jersey Clean Community Council Environment Steward for 2017. Whereas Franz should be commended for his hard work, and the city of Margate City is extremely grateful for the 27 years of his committed service. And now therefore, Franz will be deeply missed by many of us. Be it further resolved that the Mayor and Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim today, Thursday, December 21st, as Franz Advocate, and extend Franz our thanks for serving the city of Margate faithfully since 1989. Two pictures. He's nervous here, and I noticed that I'm not in either one.
Thank you. As a side note, none of that was possible without everybody knows Frank. None of it was possible without Frank.
Frank wanted to be here, but he's away. He tried to get a flight, but he missed it. He called and told me to extend my best wishes to Franz.
I talked to Frank today, and I know he would have been here, but where he is more important.
And
Being with his grandchildren, that's much more
And
important.
I see, and I want to thank, I'm sorry, I want to thank everybody for coming in. I see a couple of gentlemen from the ACUA, and I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day to be here. I know it means a lot to Franz. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Very good. Very good.
Congratulations, Ron. Enjoy your retirement. All right, pal. See you.
How many old guys know his parents?
Oh, really?
Yeah, good people.
Okay. We will now go to department head reports. I think, Ed, would you like to start? Hallelujah.
Yeah. There's no projects working. We finished up the emergency at Essex and Atlantic and on Burke Avenue, and things are kind of quiet right now. So,
It's the holidays.
yeah, I just take the opportunity to wish everybody a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and enjoy yourself.
Thank you, Ed. Same to you. Roger?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to congratulate Franz Adler for his service to the city. It's a fantastic accomplishment. Planning Board, as you may or may not be aware, the miniature golf course was approved by the Planning Board last week, so hopefully by next coming summer we'll have, as my sister-in-law from Georgia says, we'll have some putt-putt going on. Planning Board, we're looking at 4 or 5 cases in January. Just approved about 12 plans for December, so the housing boom continues. Purchasing, we're getting several year-end contracts going for next year. And when Scott comes around, I might chime in on what he's going to talk about for our flood damage prevention ordinance revisions that we want to work on for 2018. I would like to wish everyone a happy holiday and safe journey until next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Jim?
Raj, forgot to tell him you're gonna be away next week.
I'll be waiting in the hall.
Oh. I thought he was on vacation. We had another busy week, and I wish everybody a happy holiday and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. It's been a busy week, a lot of new construction going on. I think we just got 4 more houses in today, or this week. And we also have the library, which Ed and I were talking about with floodgating it. So we're looking forward to next year. That's all I have to report.
Thank you, Jim. Scott?
A number of things, Mayor. First off, let me say that as you see on tonight's agenda, the resolutions, I think Rich Deeney really deserves a hearty thank you. He's negotiated these contracts, Local 41, the PBA, the Employees Association contract, which is very significant, long-lasting impact on the city, and extremely well done, in my opinion. He actually really shows the value of having somebody with his background and experience, because he basically did it by himself. I had virtually nothing to do with this. This was our city administrator, and I think it's just an excellent job that he has done on behalf of the city of Margate in representing you as the elected official. So I just want to personally, myself, and I know you probably feel the same way, thank Rich for the work he's done. And I'm extremely impressed, as always, with his knowledge and his advice, and just he comes from a wealth of knowledge in municipal affairs, and it really shows here with ease. So just wanted to say that. And I love you too. Merry Christmas. I love you too.
Can I jump in here?
Okay. Yep.
Well said, Scott.
Scott, I totally agree with you, and just, to add, well, first of all, back up, Rich has been such a great addition to the city and just in general, but I can't remember a time that we had our labor contracts due before January the 1st of the year that they cover. So that alone, Rich, is unusual. I thank you very much. And in case I never told you before, thank you for being in Margate. Sorry, Scott.
No, that's the same way. Okay, now, next thing. Now, you have 2 resolutions on here, and this will dovetail into a third topic that I'll briefly touch upon that Roger mentioned. But you have resolution number 250 and 251, which has to do with Margate administering a program for FEMA grant money that will enable repetitive loss homes that are significantly out of compliance with FEMA elevation requirements to be raised. And again, this is something where their professional proposals, the 2 resolutions we've drafted will have Jim Rotella and have Butch Czar, or Lamont Czar is actually his legal name, administer these programs. And as I understand it, there's been a lot of thought put into it so that the homeowners get reimbursed when the work is done. I understand there are some issues in other cities where they got the money and didn't get the work done, and now the money's gone and they can't finish the job. I don't think that's going to happen here. We're well aware of it, and we have 2 excellent people involved here with this service, and that's what those 2 resolutions are. It's going to be a total of how many, 5 or 6? Jimmy's 6 homes? 6 homes for Margate. We are doing this in conjunction with our neighboring cities of Ventnor and Brigantine, right? I think Longport, does Longport get one too? Longport and Brigantine. Okay. So anyhow, that's in Ventnor. So again, it's a cooperative effort. This year, Margate takes the lead for the 4 shore communities in an effort. Oh,
It had to be class 5.
okay. Well, I thought Ventnor had one too, along with Longport.
Separate.
It's a separate drink.
Separate.
Different.
Okay, that was last year. But anyhow, we're moving forward, and that dovetails into the next topic. I guess you're all pretty much aware that the flood insurance issues, the substantial increases every year in flood insurance premiums, the problem with homes that are below the minimum elevation requirements, And there is a significant effort undergone by FEMA to revise their flood maps. You might be aware that New York City successfully sued on the adoption of the maps which affect our region, and a federal court has ordered them to put more effort and work into it to revise their flood zone. As a result, there's been, and they help me out here if I go wrong in this, but there's been an effort now by the federal government to allow local levels like Cape May County or municipalities to go ahead and adopt their portions of the maps that apply to them instead of waiting for the entire region. Great significance to this because that controls where your first floor elevation has to be. We also have received model flood prevention ordinances through FEMA in the state of New Jersey. Again, straighten me out. You guys are the experts on this one. Straighten me out where I go wrong. But where they want us to modify our existing flood prevention ordinance. Now, to that end, we held a meeting last night with Ventnor, Margate, and Longport. Roger McClernand was there for Ventnor and Margate. Longport was there. And this was reviewed in depth. Bottom line, there's a proposal out there to increase freeboard from 2 feet to 3 feet, and to have the freeboard have the first floor elevation, I'll let you take over in a second, go to the bottom joist, not to the first floor, which then eliminates the need for special wood and special coating and issues that arise with air conditioning, ductwork, and heating systems. I'm going to take over from here, or you were really good last night, by the way, explaining this, so.
I'm drawing out. No, basically what Scott said is the idea is to measure it. Your freeboard is defined as your design flood elevation. So if you put that at the bottom of the floor, everything above it does not have to be water resistant material. Longport, Ventnor, and Margate, we're getting together to have a consistent review of that, consistent basis. So we're all sharing the same builders, the same architects, sometimes same engineers. But it will benefit us all, and the new maps that will be coming out from FEMA are probably going to be more conservative than they are today. So we need to be prepared for that. And the ratepayers, the homeowners that are required to have flood insurance, this will only benefit them. And the city will benefit from better CRS ratings overall. But
Now remember, our CSR ratings, this has been Jim Galantino's baby, and he has done a lot. He's really put his heart into this. We're at a 5, which is fantastic. I mean, it's what, 25% discount on everybody's
insurance, yeah.
flood insurance. So now what we're looking to do is look to the future. We know that the requirements are going to get more stringent. We know, for instance, that the flood insurance program is what, at least $23 billion in the hole, and now with Texas and Florida and Puerto Rico, it's going to be a lot more in the hole, which means our flood insurance premiums are just going to continue to skyrocket. So when people come in to either renovate their home or build a new home, it's best to try to look down the line. Now there'll be some controversy to this, because now you're talking basically a 2-foot increase in height. There's going to be issues with zoning. There's going to be issues with the front stairways and how many treads, and then you're going to have the house that's been there for 50 years at this level, and then the newer house is here. We already hear that complaint. So it's going to be ultimately up to you. We have a draft ordinance. It's got to take some careful thought by you, but as you look down the road and we see what's coming with flood insurance, higher is better. Right? I mean,
higher is better, and the other idea is to take advantage of it from a zoning perspective and reduce impervious coverage on some of these lots. It'll create situations for homeowners if they want to come in and put a deck or patio. They don't need a variance anymore, because if we put parking underneath the buildings, you're reducing impervious and driveways and garages that are just used as sheds. So we're trying to steer and build in some benefits to the city besides lower insurance rates.
Get rid of the ABF email.
do you have anything else you'd like to add?
We gave you the ordinance.
Yeah, I have the ordinance. As you know now, we look at 3 different flood maps right now, which is very difficult and very confusing to a lot of people, including me. But eventually, we're going to ultimately have one map adopted once the federal government gets their act together and nobody successfully sues the block adopting the map. But in the meantime, we're looking forward, because we give somebody a permit today to build at a certain elevation, and in 2 years from now, the flood elevation goes up another foot or two, which most likely it will, now they're gonna be paying a higher flood insurance premium. And that's just one of the many aspects. Basically, the bottom line is we want to protect our properties and not suffer severe damage. So we'll have this ordinance next month for you to consider. There's going to be a lot of questions. We're always available. Sometimes it's helpful to go look at some of these newer homes. There's going to be some kickback on this. Some people will be unhappy, I guess, but in the long run, this is the way of the world. It's where we're headed.
Well, most homes are not being renovated now, they're being rebuilt, so the turnover is going to be affecting everyone.
Yeah, you're really seeing it in the real estate market now. It's some of these older homes now. It just doesn't make sense to raise them. A lot of them getting torn down. That's why we're seeing a building boom here. Not just Margate though, even our neighboring communities.
Well, that's why you want to change the ordinance as soon as possible to get these newer homes further compliant.
So that's it. That's what I have.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
Johanna?
I have nothing to report tonight.
Thank you. Lisa?
Just want to say congratulations to Franz again, to dovetail to everything. And I have the utmost confidence that Anthony Edge will carry the torch and serve public well in an excellent manner, as has Franz for the last several years. I really don't have anything to report. I'm working on the budget. I do have like a draft document, but I have to go back and review it to see what I've missed. And hopefully I'll be able to get a budget draft to you sometime within the next several weeks. I also would like to, I'm looking to introduce the budget the second meeting of February, if it's possible. So I just ask if any of you are planning on a vacation in February, March, or April, just let me know so that if I do set the dates, you know, I'd rather know before rather than after. And so I have happy holidays, happy New Year to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Dan?
Yeah, I'll just echo the same thing and congratulate Franz. He's done an outstanding job for the city of Margate and has always been cooperative and helpful to the fire department on anything we needed. Also, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah to those who just finished their holiday up. And one reminder, and I always try and hit a fire safety point if I can. Anybody that has a live cut tree at home, please make sure that the water stays filled at all times. There's videos out there by the UL and different things that show the difference between a Christmas tree fire with water in the base and those without, and basically the home is destroyed in seconds if you allow your water to dry out in your Christmas tree. So it's a beautiful time, beautiful year. Let's just keep it safe for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Good point. Mr. Deeney?
Always learn something with fire department. Thank you, Dan. I thank Scott for his remarks, but I want to modify them in some considerable respect. I am very pleased that we have 3 contracts with the 3 major unions or association ready for your approval. I can indicate to you that the PBA, the FMBA, and the association and Margate Employee Association, their representatives, based on votes of their membership, have executed these contracts. So if you vote on these tonight, they will be executed by the mayor and clerk, and they will be in effect as of January 1st. Now, with respect to negotiations and who negotiated, I want to thank the police chief as it relates to the PBA, the fire chief, and the deputy fire chief. Dan was involved with FMBA negotiations, and Frank was involved, as was, Pat. Pat Powers for MCEA. I couldn't have done it without the commissioner's input throughout the year with respect to where we were headed as a community. And I want to thank Commissioner Amadeo especially because 2 of the 3 major contracts, he sat in on every one of the negotiations, the fire and PBA. And John's guidance and frankly the trust factor of having the commissioner there. I've had mixed feelings during the years and mixed results during the years of having elected people present. As long as we don't have a majority of elected people present, then we don't have to make any commitments on behalf of the governing body. John's presence was very helpful with both the fire and PBA because they knew that he was serious. And in general, although I've sent you a summary and I sent you the full contract so you all have them, but in general, the goals for all 3 were achieved. And in all 3 contracts, we now have a 15-step plan for all new hires beginning January 1st, 2018. And that saves a couple of $100,000 over the course of the first 15 years of somebody's employment. I want to emphasize, however, that yes, one of our objectives is to save money on behalf of the taxpayers, but without jeopardizing the ability to get and retain good employees. Good employees still should be paid and paid properly. But principally, in my view, with police and fire, we had a situation for many, many years in which quite frankly was designed to work but didn't work as well in protection of the taxpayers because the police and fire contracts and then other contracts tended to follow escalated rapidly during the late 90s and early 10s. And then there was change in legislation that John's well aware of, where there's the 2% cap, and then there's, which tremendously helped bring things together. And even though our contracts on surface exceed 2% on average, they average either 2.5% or 2.75%, the returns back will make up 10 times as much money on behalf of the city. And that's because of either the lower starting rates or the extended time to reach starting rates. Our last round of contracts, we went from 5 or 6 to 10 steps, and this time we went from 10 steps to 15 steps. In addition to that, longevity in 2 of the 3 contracts was eliminated for all new hires. That saves, in one of the uniform contracts, about $80,000 to $100,000 over the course of a 25-year career. That doesn't have to be paid. And that's the trend statewide, there's no doubt about it. It's not a miracle that happened, but it's still a major achievement. In the 3rd contract, in which there's still a retention of some longevity, it is so vastly reduced to be almost non-existent. It doesn't start until the 20th year in the PBA contract, and it's a fixed amount starting at $1,000, whereas in the 20th year in the present contract, it's like 10% of $100,000. It's $10,000. So it's 1/10 of what it was. Lastly, in terms of major changes that I can recall, John, we have some changes either in the retirement compensation for used sick leave or in other retirement benefits or incentives. I think for the first time that I can recall, I want to commend the Employee Association, because the Employee Association representatives really worked hard on the contract. And we made a lot of good changes, some of which aren't substantial, but the wording just needed to be changed. And the contracts are still not perfect. I mean, there's some things in there that continue to get pointed out that are not necessarily substantial, but they need to be updated. And we're probably gonna do that through amendment as we continue to find them, and we're not gonna just wait till the next contract period. And Lisa brought some of them to my attention today. But there's an innovative clause in the employee association contract that is not in any other contracts, and I'm glad that they're first on this. If you're otherwise eligible for retirement, have worked in the city for 25 years, and have obtained the age of 62, but not beyond the age of 65, where you would be eligible for Medicare, you would be eligible to retire under their contract at the age of 62 or 63 or 64, anytime between 62 and 65, and receive a supplemental pay on a monthly basis to be used to contribute toward health insurance. There are people who have expressed a desire to retire prior to age 65, but work simply because they continue to work simply because they don't have any other health coverage at that point. At 62 years old, trying to buy health coverage after you've participated in a group plan for all those years is impossible, and you can't get Medicare until you're 65. It will cost the city some money if that happened up front. It's fair to them, and at the same time, we replace somebody at a starting salary that is twice as much as what it's going to cost us. In other words, if it costs us $1,000 a month, we save $2,000 a month. We're hiring somebody at $40,000 instead of $65,000. We save $25,000, have to pay out another potential $12,000. The maximum risk for the city is $36,000 over a 3-year period, and that's if anybody is even eligible or wants to take advantage of it. So it's to me, it's pretty innovative, and I'm pleased to see it in that contract. It would be more difficult to put it in the fire and police because their retirement ages often are considerably less than 60, 62, or 65. Lastly, there's a retirement incentive that's recommended by the fire chief that he wouldn't be able to take advantage of. He's already got his contract for retirement. But if anybody chooses between January 1st and June of 2018 to notify the police chief or fire chief within 60 days notice, which could be waived, and wants to retire and actually does retire and is eligible to retire under what the fire's retirement system, instead of getting paid for the sick days that they have at the prorated rates that are have been heretofore in the contract, they would get their full daily pay for their sick days that they have with a cap, which is the same as the Ventnor cap, which Ventnor had instituted this last year. There are at least 2 firefighters that have indicated some interest to the fire chief of perhaps considering this. There again, a $100,000 firefighter with all the longevity costs that we have, with a new firefighter without longevity costs in the future, and starting at $40,000 instead of $100,000. It's a win-win, but it's a short timetable. It'll be an experiment to do it, but these are the kind of things that took some of the time. It was a 4-month process for these 3 contracts from August till now, but I want to thank everybody that participated. There are others, Lisa, Johanna, and others that have pointed out things through the years that needed to be changed. They communicated to me this summer, and some of those things got changed. We're going to be paying the date for anniversary date for many of the things that get changed is going to be moved to January 1st. So if you're in the year and you're eligible for a change in pay because of an anniversary, it'll be January 1st. Once we get through the first year of doing that, it'll be neutral to the city, but it'll help a lot in payroll and finance. Any questions, comments, additions, John?
Rich, you were a busy beaver, covered it all.
Okay, that's my recollection. Okay.
It's me? Me. My turn. So I just wanted to say, and Mike notified us earlier in the meeting that Margate, in fact, lost a great public servant in Commissioner Markowski, who passed away yesterday. Tom was a nice and fun man. He was always a gentleman and never passed up an opportunity to play golf. I am going to miss him. My thoughts and prayers go out to the Markowski family and all of their friends. So that's all I have. Thank you.
John?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. And I would echo Maury's sentiments. I also pass my condolences to the Markowski family and all the dedication that Tom gave to the city of Margate and to Atlantic County League of Municipalities. He held the title for, I think, 8 or 10 years as president of that organization, was one of the longest tenures of anybody for that position for the Atlantic County League. Attended many meetings and with him presiding, and he was, as Maury said, a true gentleman, dedicated to the city of Margate, and he will not be forgotten. I just wanted to start off and with Rich's work on the contract negotiations. It was an arduous task to accomplish all 3 complete contracts in the timeline since August. What I can say is I'm very proud of the 2 negotiations that I sat in with the PBA and the FMBA, both on our side and on our negotiating team side for the PBA and the FMBA. Total gentlemen, understood the city's position each way, worked around all the issues they had, all the issues we had, and we came to an amenable, 2 very good contracts. Our employees recognized the fact that they work in a great town, and we recognize the fact that we have great employees. I'm glad that that came to completion at this time of year. So we're all relieved, and everybody can go back to work with it all complete. Rich, it would have never happened without your expertise. There were some trying times, but we got through them, and it all worked out. And I think we really did good for our employees, and I think the employees did good for our cities. The savings over the 15 years for a new hire was around, over their career, would be each new hire as of January 1st, 2018 will be in roughly $135,000 to $140,000 per new employee hired over that 15-year period. And the key is, with the loss of longevity, that's a long time savings for the taxpayers in the future. And that was the goal for the whole time, is to make it work for the future. Last night I had the opportunity to attend the Margate Terrace Christmas party. I want to thank their Board of Trustees for the work they've just accomplished in conjunction with Fred Verna, the president of that board. I saw so many happy faces in that room of the individuals that reside in that building, how happy they were, and what a great asset that is to the city of Margate. So I want to thank Fred for his hard work and his board, but also sitting there, him recognizing the fact that the mayor and commissioners and our former fathers of the city that had the foresight to work to get that project back in the 90s completed, 84, 85, 91, when it was finished. But the concept started in 84, 85, yeah, in the mid-80s. And to just see the people housed in that and how happy they are and the job that was done. And now it's basically modernized with a brand new generator, new roof, all new cabinetry in every unit, all new flooring, all painted, and everybody had smiles on their face. So Fred, thank you for all your work, and thanks for recognizing Mayor Becker, Commissioner Blumberg, and myself last night. That pretty much covered. Oh. We all, everybody has said Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah. We're all enjoying the festive season. Be careful. As Danny brought up about the tree, this is the time where there's a lot of parties. Everybody be cautious. No drinking and driving. I'm sure our police chief would have given us that information as his exercise and safety tonight. But most important, everybody have a healthy and happy New Year. Thank you.
Sure.
I'm done.
Okay. Doesn't leave me very much. Everything I wanted to talk about has already been spoken. I'd like to take this opportunity also to wish everybody happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and above all, as John said, good health. I think I can speak for all three of us. We really love taking care of the city. We really do. And you know, it's not about us. It's about you people. And having said that, we will open for public comment. And as you all know, 3 minutes to talk about anything that was discussed here today. If you have something else, you'll have to wait till this meeting is over, and at the beginning of the next meeting, you can talk about any subject at all. Is there any public comment?
I got him.
Don't jump start that, Fred. Sewell, 22 West Drive, following up on the remarks of Roger, Jim, and our esteemed solicitor. I think they had a common sentiment tonight, whereby the era of renovating and rehabbing is pretty much over. The era of the quaint rancher, Cape Codder, starter home for young families, it's antiquated, it's outdated, it's non-existent. And on that term, you have to begin to realize we're coming up against the 2020 census. And I think it's going to be more devastating than the 2010 census insofar as the number of year-round residents. It's going to have a dramatic impact, and I think it's incumbent upon this commission and this mayor to begin to plan for the ever-dwindling year-round population and ever-dwindling school population. Because if you're going to tear down the rancher and put up a McMansion, you're essentially pricing yourself out of young families. This is a reality. This is not me speaking. These are the statistics. They were clear in 2010, and they're going to be even clearer in 2020. So therefore, I call upon this commission to begin to take the bold, necessary steps to downsize and right-size the government, and even more importantly, that white elephant known as the Margate BOE, out of control, out of touch with the taxpayers. Not only you cannot have young families, but you're driving the senior citizens out as well. They cannot afford increased taxation, especially when we're having 30 to 35 millions of new ratables come online each year and then turn around and increase taxes. This is counterintuitive, counter-rational, and counterproductive. You have a fiduciary duty to the taxpayers, both the ones that can't vote, the beachfront, beach block, bayfront, as well as the senior citizens, to put a lid on tax increases. If Brigantine could reduce taxes 2 years in a row, and they're not having $35 million of new ratables coming online, then certainly Margate, it's a far easier task. And I think that headline in today's current points this commission in the right direction. And of course, Giovanni, it's Festivus for the rest of us. Thank you.
He's good, man. He must practice.
We practice the miracle.
I know you do.
Is the public comment just about the meeting?
Just about what was discussed at this meeting, sir.
Okay.
If you want to talk about something else, it'd be
Few
a
minutes.
5-minute break between meetings, and then at the beginning of the next meeting, as I said before, you'll be able to talk about anything you'd like to.
Because I've been calling members of the town boards, not the boards, but mostly the building and public works numbers because of an issue in front of my home with the curbing. So is there
Next meeting, okay?
the next public meeting?
Just hang a few minutes.
It would be
We'll take
5
a-
minutes.
Oh,
That's gonna be just, any other public comment? Is there a motion to? Steve, you're slowing down, my friend.
I wasn't sure somebody else wasn't coming up. Steve Warner, 103 North Sumner Avenue. I'll tell you, it was really heartening to hear about the new contracts. When I first got involved in government and I opened all the contracts, I was, shocked really, because I was so, I didn't know what was going on. And it's great to see that, it took all these years, but things are really finally starting to get under control. Not that I want to hurt any of the employees in the city. I think anybody that knows me knows that I don't, but really things were getting out of control. They were out of control. And that seems to me that now they're much more in line with what everybody else is doing in this country, that's all that I wanted. And I feel like, some of the things that I wanted 5 or 6 years ago are finally being put into place. And I thank everybody that's involved. I think did a great job. And, and I think anybody that knows me knows that I've talked about this from day one. So it's great. And Rich, you did a great job. I've I've praised you any number of times, Rich. What a difference! I mean, before you were here and since you were here, what a difference! It's unbelievable. It's finally being, and it takes time. It took a long time to get that screwed up, and it's taken a long time to get it straightened out. But you've done a great job. So that's all I got to say. And also, in a holiday note, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and a happy and healthy New Year and prosperous New Year. And let's see you all next year, I guess.
Thank you, Steve. Any other public comment? Is there a motion to close public
Move to
comment?
close public comment.
Johanna?
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Make that motion?
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
We will reconvene in about 5 minutes.